Good evening, Independents. A few things today. First, I'm going to read you my candidate statement that will appear in the Contra Costa and Alameda County voter information guides for the March 5th primary. Second, it appears the race for Congress in this district has narrowed from 7 candidates down to 5, and only 3 of those 5 filed paperwork in both counties. I will show you who they are. Third, I got a new little microphone here that I'm going to test out, so hopefully the sound quality will be better. If it's not, if it's the same as previously, then obviously it didn't work. Fourth, I will show you who Nolan Chen is. He was one of the candidates whose website was down, and then it came back up, so I was going to record again, but when I went back to record, it was down again. And it appears to still be down, but there's at least something up on his website, so you'll be able to see at least who he is this time. And lastly, 2 more things. Well, fourth, I guess, I finally have the big tree up. I'm very proud of myself. I had to chop a little bit off the top, but I got it up. Not all of the ornaments are up, but you'll see what I do. I actually do a minimal design for the Christmas trees. And then lastly, I've decided that I'm only going to record this 99 Days to Super Tuesday series every 5 days. And the reason is because it takes me a lot of time to record and produce and edit and post this on all of the platforms every single day. And it's causing me to not be able to get to the episodes that I really want to create, which are the street interviews, the sit-down interviews, and the issues episodes. So by going from every day to once every 5 days. So the next one will be on day 80. It's 83 days to Super Tuesday right now. And then 75, 70, 65, 60. It will free up somewhere between 10 and 15 hours per week for me, which will allow me to create the other content that I want to create for you. And if something interesting happens, I will of course record an extra little episode here or there. If something interesting happens on Joe and the Go, or I have another thought, then I will hold a morning coffee session or an evening session like I'm doing here. So let's get on to the information for the evening. First of all, I'm going to read to you the candidate statement that will appear in the voter information guide. And after looking at the submissions to both Contra Costa and Alameda counties, it appears that only Mark Desaulnier, the incumbent, and myself have published a candidate statement. And the reason is because, most likely, it's actually very expensive because the candidate is responsible for essentially paying for that little portion of the voter information guide that will be distributed to literally hundreds of thousands of voters. So they put the cost on the candidate, which is somewhat of a hindrance, and it was not cheap. It was much more expensive than you imagine it is. So here it goes. Our country is declining at the fastest rate I've seen during my lifetime. As the father of an 11-year-old and a hardworking business owner, I will not stand by and watch everything we have built in our country over the last 250 years just disappear. I'm running to stand against the establishment and bring a bold, new kind of leadership to Washington, D.C. A leader who listens to the people, says what he thinks, and does what he says. A leader influenced only by the voters of our district and his internal compass, not by divisive politics, the media, or his donor base. A leader with the independence, intellect, and energy to find solutions to problems instead of taking partisan sides and kicking important issues down the road. A leader committed to analyzing, auditing, and investigating how every last tax dollar is spent by every last government agency and program, to hold them accountable for improving the lives of all Americans and using our hard-earned money with the respect it deserves. A leader so connected that he makes the 700,000 voters in our district feel like just 7,000. A leader who can unite 100% of our district behind him with a vision to stop our decline, rebuild what we've lost, and create a future worthy of our past. A leader who can break the system and restore power over Congress to the people. So as you can tell, I'm not playing the candidate statement safe like you're supposed to, which is to talk about your education and your background and what you've done in the community and how you plan to reach across the aisle to solve problems. I'm not looking to reach across the aisle. I'm looking to break the aisle. I'm looking to break the two-party system, to create a new kind of government that is more responsible to the voters, to the people of the district. And this is how I feel about our country right now. I feel like we are in free fall. Everything around us is crumbling. The state is being destroyed, and our country is soon to fall if nothing is done. We need a massive change in government, and if it doesn't happen in this election cycle, I don't think we are going to pull ourselves out of this nosedive. That's why I'm running. This is how I feel. And I'm hoping that that is how a lot of people in this district feel. That's the impression I get from having now talked to hundreds of people all across the district. And if that is true, then that candidate statement will resonate, and it will help me in the March 5th primary to make it through to the general election. So that's what I'm hoping. And if you want somebody who's going to play it safe, who's going to continue doing what's been done in the past, then vote for that person, because that's not me. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm the alternative. Let's get to the interesting information that I pulled up from Contra Costa County and Alameda County Registrar of Voters and Voters Office, which is that it appears the 7 candidates that I talked about in the video a couple of days ago and showed you all of them has been narrowed to 5 because 2 of them only filed paperwork with the FEC, but appear to not have filed any paperwork with Contra Costa or Alameda County. But before I get to that, I had promised that if Nolan Chen, who is a Republican candidate running for office, if his website came back up because it was broken when I looked at it before, that I would show it to you. And it did come back up the other day, but then by the time I got around to recording it again, it was back down. And it's still down, so let me just share my screen with you. If you type in his name, Nolan Chen Congress, into Google, it shows Nolan for Congress at nolanchen.com. But then you click on it and it never loads, nothing happens. But a little bit earlier, I did get it to load, so let me stop this. But it appears that it goes to some other version of his site because there are these videos and you can click on them and listen to them and they work.
I know, the title sounds a little pessimistic, but what caught my attention was one sentence where they write this. Quote, if, for instance, a job is highly formulaic and has few discretionary decisions.
So anyway, if you go to YouTube, I'll click on the link that says go to YouTube on here. It goes to a page called Homeschool Nolan. And if you click into that, it has some videos, but they're talking about AI and some other tech things. So they don't appear to be related to his campaign. But at least if you want to hear who he is and get a feeling for who he is, you can go to his Homeschool Nolan YouTube page for now. Then maybe his campaign website will come up later. So that is Nolan. Let me click out of those. Yeah, and this page just never loads. So now let's get into the Contra Costa County, who filed what paperwork. One of the candidates is Catherine Piccanini, a Republican. Her ballot designation will be retired businesswoman and grandmother. And as you can see, she filed all of her paperwork with Contra Costa County. Everything was turned in with the exception of the candidate statement. There's no filing date for that, so I don't believe she filed one. Okay, and then next on the list is me, which is no party preference. It says that I have no ballot designation here, but that's because I filed that portion of it in Alameda County. And the reason is because I am a resident of Alameda County, which is the little part of the southeastern part of District 10, I guess the very southern part of the 10th district. So because I live in Alameda County, I had to file all of the official paperwork that gets filed with the California Secretary of State in Alameda County for them to verify. That includes the declaration of candidacy, the ballot designation worksheet, this code of fair conduct, all of that stuff I filed in Alameda County. So even though it shows that no ballot designation was filed and that no fees were paid, I paid them in Alameda County, and I'll show you that in a second. So the only papers that I had to file in Contra Costa County where I filed some nomination papers, which were accepted, and then I filed the candidate statement, and that was filed on 12/6/2023. So that's the only paperwork I had to file in Contra Costa because I'm not a resident of Contra Costa. If we look down here at Nolan, he appears to be a resident of Contra Costa, and as you can see, he filed everything with Contra Costa County, again with the exception of the candidate statement, which he appears to not have filed. Mark Desaulnier is a resident of Contra Costa County, so as you can see, he filed everything, including a candidate statement, with Contra Costa County. Mohammed El Sharbini, running as no party preference, is a businessman and CEO, and again, he filed everything with Contra Costa County, okay, with the exception of a candidate statement. He did not file one of those. And then Musa Jawless, who is listed on the FEC's website as a Republican candidate, doesn't have that here, and he does not have a ballot designation. And he didn't file a declaration of candidacy. It appears that he didn't file anything. There is no nomination papers, no signatures in lieu filed, no candidate statement, nothing has been filed. And you'll see in a second that in Alameda County, there's nothing filed either. So I don't believe that he is going to end up being on the ballot. He may have just decided to end up not running, even though he did pay the fees. Okay. So those are the people that have filed something in Contra Costa County. Catherine Piccanini, Republican, myself, Nolan Chen, Republican, Mark Desaulnier, Democrat, and Mohammed El Sharbini, no party. If we click over to Alameda County in the 10th Congressional District, there are only 3 people that filed paperwork with Alameda County. And this is only, I think, 10 to 20% of the district, but that's still a significant chunk. So Nolan filed paperwork in Alameda County. It appears he will appear on the Alameda County ballots. But you can see that there are no dates on anything, and that's because he filed all of his paperwork with Contra Costa County because that's the county that he's a resident of. Mark Desaulnier, same thing. He clearly filed something with the county because he's listed here. However, there are no dates for any of the paperwork that he filed because he filed everything in Contra Costa County where he resides. Myself, I'm the only one where it says filing completed, and that's because I completed all the paperwork that ends up getting sent up to the California Secretary of State. So this is where I filed some nomination petitions. I filed my declaration of candidacy here and the ballot designation form, which you can see that I'm listed as business owner in Alameda County under the ballot designation, but Mark and Nolan don't have anything because they filed theirs in Contra Costa County. A little bit confusing when the district is split, and I was confused in the beginning too, but all figured out. The bottom line is that there appear to only be 5 candidates that will appear on any ballot, Contra Costa, and only 3, Nolan, Mark, and myself, will appear on also the Alameda County ballot. So that obviously helps me with the race because I've completed everything I need to complete, so I have access to all of the voters of the district instead of just Contra Costa County. And that is all I have for this evening. Like I said, I will be recording these on every 5th day now. The next one I'll record is with 80 days to Super Tuesday, which will be on Saturday. You will see it on Sunday. That's all I have for this evening. Good night.